Game of the Year is always an interesting event and time of the year. It's supposed to be a time and event of celebration, a time to look back on the year gaming has had and give awards to some extremely talented games companies for the amazing contributions they have made to the overall gaming world and industry. The event is also supposed to look to the future of gaming and show off never seen before incredible up and coming games by showing exclusive trailers at the event. Fans are supposed to love the event and be happy with the awards given out by the community. Fans are supposed to love the event for up and coming games shown for the first time at this event. And fans are supposed to love the event and delivering for both game devs and fans all around the world. But last year, only a few weeks ago, Game of the Year was once again annually showcased. Only this time, well, how do I put this? It wasn't really received with much love at all.
Claire Obscure Expedition 33!
And the Game Award goes to Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Goes to Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Myself.
And the Game Award goes to Laurent Testard.
Goes to Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
I can't take much more of this.
And finally, here are the final 5 nominees for Player's Voice.
And the Game Award goes to Expedition 33.
And the Game of the Year is mon ami Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Awards. Well, it was basically the Expedition 33 awards. They won basically every award.
To Voice Critical. Congratulations. All right.
So in this video, I'm going to talk about whether or not last year's Game of the Year event and Game of the Year itself was what I would call a scam and evaluate how bad it truly could have been. Before I continue with this video, I would ask that you all like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content, and if you enjoy this video, consider watching some of my other ones that are on the channel. Hit the bell to stay notified. I thank you all so much for watching the video. Enjoy. To start off this video, we need to lay down some ground rules for what Game of the Year should set out to achieve on the whole, so we can then see if they did these things, and therefore whether this was a fair and good Game of the Year award event, or whether it wasn't. The things Game of the Year should set out to achieve are as follows. Number 1, it should deliver fair awards that both fans of the gaming world agree are fair, and critics alike too. Number 2, it should make sure it nominates fair games for fair awards, something that sounds quite simple, but we'll come on to see how they can easily mess this up somehow, and have done before, unbelievably.
The global jury of media selected these 6 as the best. Absolum, Ball Pit, Blueprints, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Hades 2, and Hollow Knight Silksong. And the Game Award goes to Claire Obscure Expedition 33!
You can't keep getting away with it! You can't keep getting away with it!
Number 3, it should show fans a wide variety of new games coming out in the future to get fans excited for 2026 and further for the games industry. And number 4, finally, the event itself should be entertaining and enjoyable for both live viewers at the event and viewers at home watching on stream. With these unwritten rules now, well, written out the way, I can now get to evaluating the last year's Game of the Year awards to truly see if it was a great Game of the Year awards or, like so many are calling, a scam. The first thing I want to talk about is whether or not I think that the games that were nominated for the Game of the Year nominations were fair nominations. So first off, what makes a fair nomination? Well, for example, the game has to be an RPG if it gets nominated for, well, the RPG category. The game has to look stunning and have a focus and greater emphasis on art to be nominated for Best Art. And, oh yeah, the game has to be a fucking indie game for it to get nominated for Best Indie Game.
And the Game Award goes to Claire Obscure Expedition 33 for Best Adaptation. And the Game Award goes to
Claire Obscure, Expedition 33.
Which brings me on to my first huge problem with the nominees for last year's Game of the Year, and that's that they are not very varied at all. Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotai, and a Hollow Knight Silksong were all nominated multiple times throughout the event for all kinds of different awards. Now these are, for the most part, all great games that the public have enjoyed and loved. So you may be asking, why am I bringing them up? And why am I bringing up the amount of times they have been nominated for different awards? Well, I get why these games were nominated for multiple categories, but I do feel it can be very excessive and it makes the whole year feel so much smaller than it actually is, especially when some of the games really were not needed to be nominated for the certain categories where they were over others, especially when some of the games really were not needed to be nominated for certain categories due to the amount of other games that could have easily filled their place and been better fillers in my opinion. I mean, Ghost of Yotai for Best Audio when we could have easily nominated Doom there instead. I mean, Death Stranding 2 for Best Action when Solid Snake Delta E released. It could have easily went there too. And of course, any other fucking indie game over Claire Obscure Expedition 33. Oh, I'm gonna get so tired of saying that throughout the video.
And the Game Award goes to
Garbage.
Claire Obscure, Expedition 33.
No! 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 Fuck this fucking game. Fuck it.
And this is one of my big issues with this year's Game of the Year. I would get it if we didn't have a very busy year for gaming, but that's not the case at all. We have had a massive year for gaming, and it would have been nice to see some of the other great games that came out this year got more of the love and recognition they really deserve. I mean, Expedition 33 got nominated for 10 awards, Ghost of Yotai got nominated for 6, Death Stranding 2 got nominated for 7, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 got nominated for 3, and Hollow Knight Silk Sword got nominated for 6 as well. And I just think those slots so easily could have been taken by other games out of these nominations and would have given some other games a more fair shot that they deserve, like Metal Gear Solid, like The Avowed, like The Dying Light Beasts. I mean, come on, that game didn't even get nominated once. And I personally just don't think it's fair when those games easily could have won more over some of the other ones that were nominated, or at least would have had a better chance, at least in my opinion, and it would have made sense more why they would win more over some of the other ones. But fine, I guess it is what it is. I can let all that pass, all of it. But you know what I can't let pass? The fact that Expedition 33 got nominated for Best Indie Game.
What? Whoa! 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 Whoa!
When it had a, you know, quite a small, moderate indie budget of $10 million fucking dollars.
Please, Daddy.
I told you, when I'm finished, you can have what's left.
There won't be any left. There's never any left.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And the backing and promotion of Microsoft behind it. This isn't me hating on Claire Obscure, by the way. It looks fantastic, and a lot can argue it had the very fair right to win Game of the Year. That's fine. And sure, a lot of the awards, fine. Should have won those too. But it is not, fundamentally not an indie game. Like, I get that it's now being redacted due to its use of AI, but that's not the point. It never should have been nominated in the first place. And the fact it was, to be quite honest, a real kick in the face to all the indie developers trying to release small but incredible indie games. Like the guys behind Hollow Knight, who should have easily won this category. The fact that this got through and no one at Game of the Year thought that the game with a budget of $10 million, a budget that most AA companies have, or wish they had in some cases, and the backing of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They should have at least at some point thought, this is not an indie game, we should not be electing this for Best Indie, and nominating this for Best Indie. It's a complete and utter insult to the indie community and games developers, and it's also a greater insult to the greater gaming community. As I'm talking about nominations, I feel like now is as good of time as ever to go on to talk about whether or not I think that the awards that were actually won were fair or not fair awards to be won. And to put it quite bluntly, no, I don't think the awards were fair. Not at all.
Say what?
And let me explain why. So in the last segment of the video, I talked about how I thought it was unfair that Expedition 33, among some other games, got nominated for so many different awards so many times, over other games that could have been nominated in its place instead, and some games that had, in a lot of aspects, a clearer right to be nominated than those games. Yeah, well, here I'm basically just going to say the exact same thing about how many awards Expedition 33 won. Look, whether you thought Expedition 33 deserved the 10 nominations it got and the 9 awards it won or not, doesn't matter. I personally think that if your game is going to win Game of the Year, it should be therefore at least 5 times harder, in my opinion, to win anything else. And I know that must sound really harsh, and trust me, I'm not just hating on Expedition 33 for the sake of it. This is actually something I have wanted to make a video on since last year, and that's the simple opinion that I think winning Game of the Year itself should be held to a much greater standard and higher standard than it is. In my opinion, if a game wins Game of the Year, that means that overall they have managed to do every other subcategory better than the games of that year, or in this case, this year, that have released. Or at least they have been able to do it to the same quality level of other games, but has surpassed them due to every different aspect of which makes up the game being done to that higher level of consistency, and it being done to a more consistent level than the competition of that year. What I mean by that is the game has either done the story, the combat, the art, to all such a high level of consistency that it basically just wins the overall prize of Game of the Year, because it's done every other subcategory so consistently well that it has to win that prize, and to such a higher level than all of the other games that have come out that year, that therefore it just has to win Game of the Year. This perfectly brings me on to talk about my main point. If that were the case, at least in my opinion, it would make Game of the Year so much better, because other games would be able to win other categories, and it wouldn't be so much just one game winning literally everything, steampiling the entire Game Awards, as that Game of the Year award would be reserved for the game that already basically did all of the subcategories so overall well that it automatically wins Game of the Year. Therefore, other games would actually get a fair chance at winning the subcategories. I mean, people may disagree with me when I say that, but that's how I think it should be. If you win Game of the Year, that's the best prize in the building. That is the highest award you can win in the industry. Therefore, you shouldn't need to win many other awards. Unless, of course, the competition is really bad, in which, fair play, I guess you can just win everything.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard.
But the thing is, this year, it just wasn't. That's just how I view it. In my opinion, if you win Game of the Year, you've done every other subcategory overall so well that you've won Game of the Year. Or if you haven't done it to such a good consistency, you've done most of them so much better than all the competition this year that therefore you win Game of the Year. That's how I view it, and holding it to that standard, I feel would work so much better, because more games could win those subcategories, like I said, and Game of the Year would be held to a much greater value, which it so desperately needs to be. I think it takes a lot away when you have Expedition 33 win Game of the Year, but no one can then really appreciate the fact it's won Game of the Year when it's won 8 fucking awards alongside Game of the Year. It just kind of comes off as a comedy show when you have this one game that basically just steampiles all of the awards and doesn't allow for Death Stranding 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, or any of the other literal hundreds of games to win pretty much any awards that came out this year. As for the other awards themselves, were they fairly won? Fuck nah.
You serious?
Best RPG should have gone to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 or Avowed. Best Art should have 100% been given to Hollow Knight, and so should have Best Indie Game. As for the other awards, like I said, they all should have been split and spread way more between different games rather than all just going to Expedition 33. But we wouldn't have this problem if Expedition 33 winning Game of the Year was held to a much higher standard, so they wouldn't need to win every other fucking subcategory too. Oh, and there is one more little thing I really need to mention and get off my chest. The most anticipated game award is the most bullshit award ever. Like, I get it. It's not only to show people, look how cool the new stuff is coming out next year and you should all really be excited for it, but it's also so that people can vote on what game they're actually most looking forward to playing next year. But this year, it was just straight up bullshit. The last 3 years, it's been GTA 6. You would think, you know, after you win the most anticipated Game of the Year award, and then you don't release your game the next year, that you wouldn't be allowed to win it again, but they just keep winning it for some reason. Like, the way it's been going, we might as well just nominate Elder Scrolls 6 and Half-Life 3. Just include all the guys who have supposed games coming out that they refuse to release, or, well, refuse to release any details on at least. Because if you're gonna nominate GTA 6 every single year, despite it not coming out the 3 years it's been nominated, or 2, I can't quite remember, we might as well just nominate every single game that's like that too. It's a stupid category, and I just want to see it gone, to be quite honest.
Theft Auto 6.
Grand Theft Auto 6.
I swear to God! Wheels on the bus go.
Now that I have talked about the awards and nominations themselves, let's talk about the second most important thing that happens at Game of the Year, and that's the trailer showcase. Game of the Year is supposed to be one of, if not the largest single event that hosts all kinds of never been seen before trailers for games to get people hyped up for the next year of gaming. So of course, the question is, how did it do at hyping people up? Well, I'm glad you asked. It fucking failed. It failed horrifically. It failed. Off the top of my head, I can name like 3 games I saw for the first time and they actually interested me. Those games, literally off the top of my head. Oh wait, no, I can think of another one. So there's 4 games off the top of my head. And those games are the new Lara Croft games they're making, which almost look as good as PS2 Lara Croft's tits.
God damn, girl.
And both the new Star Wars games looked really cool. Even though we really didn't see much of them, they still looked really cool. I really like the idea of a pod racing game. Like, the fact no one's done that before, it baffles me. Well, actually, I think they did in arcades in like the 80s, but you know, that was just a little while ago. But no, the idea of a Star Wars racing game to me, so cool. That's such a good idea. And the other Star Wars game, it looked cool. It's Star Wars, okay? Easy to please. Oh yeah, and then I really like the look of the Forest 3. I thought that looked really wacky and fun. It's set in space, set on another planet. Look, I am not a Forest fanboy. I've never played the other games. That one just looked really cool to me. So sorry if I'm shitting on what the Forest is supposed to be, or, you know, the Forest IP, because they're changing it up, but I thought that looked really cool. That's just me. Other than that, we really didn't get much to be excited about whatsoever. There was a new Divinity trailer, which really didn't interest me one bit, if I'm being honest. There was a Resident Evil 9 trailer, which looked pretty good. But other than that, there was nothing new. And the stuff that, to be honest, actually got me excited for and sat me up to actually watch and care about the Game of the Year was the bloody James Bond trailer for one of the supposed main villains of the game, and the Lego Batman trailer. However, I don't really count these as trailers. Okay, yeah, by definition, they are trailers. But, I mean, these games have been around for a while in the public's knowledge. These aren't new, groundbreaking ideas, never been seen before. They look great. They look fun, they look interesting, and they look hype. But we've known about these games for a long while now, and these trailers only really serve to keep the hype train up, not create a new one, not make fans interested in a new IP or a new game that's never been seen before. Like I said, the Lego Batman game, the James Bond game, and lots of the other game trailers that were interesting were for games that we've already seen hundreds of times, and they just help to keep the hype going. I'm not against this, but it really would have been nice to have some more unique games being shown off, games that we'd never seen before for the first time, because in my opinion, that's one of the best things about Game of the Year and Game of the Year trailers for me, is the fact that we should be watching most of these trailers for the first time, and last year's that really wasn't the case. As for how the trailers were presented themselves, they did such a poor job at diversity, and it just baffles me how they didn't realize. Here's how the trailers would go. 900 Japanese animated clone games, 500 Souls-likes, and then a special end and a sprinkle on top of a special fuck you with 250 generic first-person shooter games. To really make it sink in that there were hardly any actual good trailers for last year's Game of the Year awards. Anytime I got a trailer that wasn't one of these three genres or these three things, I genuinely felt so much fresh air enter my body, and I felt like I could actually breathe again and allow myself to become present in the moment and interested in what I was actually fucking looking at, instead of looking at whatever the fuck bullshit this is. Like, the first person slop and the Japanese slop was so forced this year, it was insane. And every single time it came on screen, my eyes felt like they hurt. I'm telling you, man, it was not good. It was not good at all. I think it's because of Black Ops 7 having a lot to blame for the amount of hatred people have for first-person shooters at the minute. But anytime I saw like a semi-futuristic first-person shooter come on screen, I wanted it to fucking end immediately. It was painful to watch. And as for the Japanese games, I understand that the market over there is very, very different to the market over here. Even though, of course, the Japanese audience do enjoy Western games as well, and I enjoy some Japanese games too. Holy shit, the Japanese trailers this year were just dog shit. Most of them completely look like ass, and oh, they just look terrible, to be honest. And there was so much of it. There was so much. I mean, I'm used to seeing some Japanese shit when it comes to games, and as I'm sure they're used to seeing Western shit. Trust me, I am. Like I said, we saw 250 fucking first-person shooters that were Western, so they all suck too, but the amount of dog-ass Japanese games, or Japanese-inspired games, that came out of this year's Game of the Year awards was insufferable. The Souls-like stuff is not that bad. At least it's more diverse than any of the Japanese stuff and the damn first-person shooters, but man, it was still pretty boring to watch. So many Souls-like copies as well. Not to mention, I can't say the old Half-Life community are doing so well after being led to believe they would have a huge Half-Life news reveal or a Half-Life 3 trailer reveal, only for nothing to happen. I mean, the way Jeff was talking all throughout the show, it really did sound like they were going to at least, at the very least, mention Half-Life or even announce something. Please just announce Half-Life 3, man. But nope. Instead, oh man, are you fucking kidding me? Instead, they announce a fucking hero shooter. He was hyping it up so bad for it to be Half-Life 3, and it just was a hero shooter. A shitty hero shooter. Oh man. Like, oh my days. No wonder the Half-Life 3 community are so upset and are subtracted into such a disarray right now. I really do feel them.
Playing games for decades. Over the years, there have been many games, characters, and franchises we've all wished would return, and certainly many I'd hoped that would be ready to announce at an event like this one day. Tonight, I'm excited to share this piece of news with all of you. Congratulations to Sandfall, an amazing Game of the Year winner, and that is going to do it for the Game Awards 2025. Thank you all for watching, voting, and being a part of this community, and congratulations to all the nominees, winners, and teams who debuted new games tonight. We'll see you again on Friday, June 5th.
But, I mean, it wasn't only those guys who were kind of done dirty. I mean, even Bethesda fans were kind of stiffed in this year's Game of the Year presentation. They really just brought Todd Howard on stage to yap for a little bit, present an award, and then go. Come on! No mention of Elder Scrolls 6, a Fallout game, or a Fallout remaster of a game, or even a damn Starfield DLC. As someone who has been promised 10 Starfield updates, 10 consistent DLCs for the next 10 years, and someone who still plays Starfield to this day and enjoys it, I am so pissed that we already have missed our second Starfield DLC. And there's just no word about it. No word about a delay on the DLC, no word they're even making one, no word on anything. Come on, Todd, you're really letting me down here, man. I've defended you so much in the past, but just a fucking Starfield DLC, man. Come on. I mean, he didn't even mention the Fallout TV show, which is so strange that he wouldn't shill that. Like, damn, season 2 came out like the other week, like literally 1 week ago. He is aware of that, right? Like, no one told him that it just released. Like, you'd think he would be promoting the ever heck out of that, but he just wasn't, I guess. I guess he didn't feel like it. Most of the trailers absolutely sucked. There was nowhere near enough variety and nowhere near enough new never been seen before trailers. Mind you, that doesn't really surprise me when the rumor is that it costed $250,000 for 1 minute of a trailer to be shown at the awards ceremony.
That's actually hilarious.
Like, oh my goodness, come on. I guess we're just hitting like Super Bowl level of cost now, which is such a shame because it really does stiff any games companies that don't have money to throw away at game trailers at Game of the Year award. And not to mention, indie companies just cannot show their games off at Game of the Year, which is to kind of be expected, but for an event that prides themselves in giving the little guys the awards, the, well, indie community are supposed to, you know, have best indie game and all of that, you'd think they'd make it a little bit more accessible for indie companies to, you know, show off their games at their event, but I guess not. I guess we're really at the level now where we're charging $250,000 for 1 minute of your trailer to be shown. I mean, that is, I don't know, man, that feels really scummy, to be honest. Just really scummy, but that's the industry for you, I suppose. It should not be like that at all. It just should. And it just means that only the most corporate of corporate games can get in, and that really is sad, to be honest. But mind you, that is just the rumor, so it could be untrue, but with the way things have been and the way the event went and the lack of variety in trailers and the lack of any standalone new trailers really standing out and new never been seen before trailers standing out, it really wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. Now finally, I want to talk about how entertaining the event itself was, and I'll just say it straight off the bat here, if you were there in person, the event as usual looked sick to be at and see live. The different interactive things they did for some of the games were really cool. Jeff did his thing on stage with the Muppets, and you would have of course got to see a lot of celebrities in person on stage and maybe even get the chance to talk to and meet some of them depending on where you're seated. You would of course also get a great view of everything at the event and even see the awards given in person. However, for most of us like myself who were sat at home watching the event wasn't great.
Aw, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Well, it didn't suck, but to be honest with you, the live music and live performances and all of that is just kind of long for me at home. The only person I really cared to hear yap was, of course, Jeff. And to be honest, the only people I really cared other than Jeff to see on stage were the actors for the new live-action Street Fighter movie. That looked sick, and I'm a huge Jason Momoa fan, so I'm really happy to see that he's going to be partaking in another gaming movie related project. To be honest, this year's Game of the Year ended up feeling very, very corporate, which is kind of sad to me. I kind of knew it would end up like this, but what I really liked about Game of the Year at the start was just how different it felt to all these other corporate multi-millionaire events, because it felt a lot more human. But this year's, it was just rammed full of so much shit, basically, in between the awards given out and the trailers being shown. We didn't need to see 80 live performances, we didn't need to see 80 new people come on stage and yap for 10 minutes, and we certainly didn't need to see so many reenactments of different stuff. Overall, the show was mid to watch at home, but I'm sure a speculent event to watch in person, as usual. In conclusion, the nominations for Game of the Year were not fair when other games easily could have been nominated over the ones that we got. The same games were nominated way too much. Expedition 33 won way too many awards, but also won over games that it should have easily been beaten by. The most anticipated category should be completely abolished because it was a scam this year. There were nowhere near enough never been seen before trailers, and the trailer variety was very poor. The event looked great in person, I'm sure, but was very boring and felt very corporate watching online at home. So with that all being said, do I think Game of the Year 2025, as I phrased it, is a scam? Well, no. No, I wouldn't go that far. It wasn't a scam, but I would say it was a huge waste of any time watching it and was a terrible event overall, which continues to head in the wrong direction towards being much more and more corporate event, just like the Oscars are, which is very sad, but that seems to be the way things are going nowadays. And with that, I want to thank you all very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider liking and subscribing to the channel with the bell notifications on so you never miss when I upload. Thank you all very much for watching, and let me know what you thought of 2025's Game of the Year and what changes you think should be made to make Game of the Year better. Thank you all ever so much for watching. As always guys, stay safe and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks guys.